This week in history.
Okay, and I feel fine. 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
All right, Johnny. So the only thing I have for us today and this week in history, because again, it's a little bit of a longer one, and it happens over the whole week.
Ah.
It's all about the U.S.S. Indianapolis. So,
Hey, hometown ship.
So the U.S.S. Indianapolis, if you don't know what it was a military ship during World War II. And on July 26, 1945, it delivered a part of its secret mission, some components for a nuclear bomb named the Little Boy to a set of islands called the Tinian Island on July 19th, 1945.
It saved the world.
So on July 19th, it would take off from Honolulu. It actually, during this whole secret campaign, set a record from California to Honolulu being like 72 hours or something like that. 72 hours. So it was booking it this whole time.
Yeah, that sounds awful, though.
Yeah, well, it still set like speed records on getting to Tinian Island. It would start off from Honolulu to Tinian on July 19th, deliver the components on July 26th successfully. We got it there.
Yay.
Later, in a couple of weeks, some bombs are going to get dropped.
Uh-oh.
Those components that it was specifically carrying was the enriched uranium, which was specifically uranium-235, which was actually at this time half of the known world source of enriched uranium. So, woo!
Which probably still wasn't that much.
And I'm guessing that most of the people that were on that boat, well, spoiler alert, how they survived, might have had some other health-related issues later.
Oh, every single one of them touched it.
Oh, guaranteed it. They also carried like some of the detonation components and some other odds and ends. Basically, they carried the bomb in all of its separate components to the island to be assembled.
They did what Honda does when they say we're building a Honda factory in the United States. What they're building is an assembly line to put the thing together. They build everything somewhere else and ship it all and then put it together. And then you have a car.
Now, upon successfully carrying out her mission, she sailed to Guam, where she had to drop off some of her troops because their tours were over. These guys are lucky. They get off the boat in Guam. They say, deuces, my tour's over, which is also an asshole thing to do. Their tour's over and you get dropped off in Guam? Well, how the hell am I getting back from Guam?
Hey, it's over, bud. It ends when and where it ends. I don't know what to tell you. The military has trained you for this, hopefully.
Baby. She left Guam on July 28th and headed for Leyte Island, that's Leyte, where her crew was supposed to receive instruction and join Fleet Task Force 95 at Okinawa. So she was supposed to go from Guam to Leyte and then from Leyte to Okinawa. But Johnny, she doesn't make it to Leyte.
Uh-oh.
Because at 00:15 on July 30th, she's hit by 2 torpedoes from the Japanese sub I-58. Now, the U.S.S. Indianapolis was assured that there were no subs operating in this region, that they were completely safe.
Huh.
Don't worry about it.
So they poked the wrong bear.
Oops. Less than 12 minutes after being struck, the ship would roll over onto its side and completely flip over.
12 minutes?
Because this ship was originally manufactured, I believe, in the 20s or 30s. And since then, it had a lot of more armament. So more armament, more guns. They tended to put the stuff up towards the towers where the officers sit, and they made it a little top heavy. So once it started taking on water on the side,
it didn't have to go far to get past its point. Yeah.
Yeah, and once it tilted, it flipped all the way over, and then like the Titanic, went butt up and then down like a rock.
Yeah.
Of the original 1,195 men that set out on this ship, 300 went down with it. So right off the bat, 300 are dead.
All right.
They're probably the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Drowning is the better option here. Because what happens to the remainder of the crew is, well, they're stranded. Rescue calls were sent out, But as of right now, the boat sunk. We didn't have enough time to get the life rafts all out. We didn't have enough time to get
Yeah,
life jackets on. So about half the crew that's in the water does not have a life
they're
jacket
just
or a life raft to get into.
so they're just treading water fully clothed.
And a lot of these guys are wounded,
Right, yeah,
burned,
naturally, because
bloody,
a ship tipping over and you sliding and falling in, and yeah, there's going to be a
not to
lot of
mention
things hitting you.
torpedo explosions and ship
Yeah,
fire and all
yeah.
that fun stuff. Well, Johnny, do you know what there are a shit ton of in the Pacific Ocean?
Um, Gosh, jellyfish. There's, I think, probably not as many coral reefs. Maybe some manta rays,
Specifically, a shit
whales.
ton of tiger sharks.
Oh,
Do
tiger
you know?
sharks, but those are the ones that don't eat humans. They're non-aggressive, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when there's all that blood and
Oh, they are
floating
the
bodies in the
aggressive
water,
ones.
they get a little excited
Huh.
and they start eating the dead. And then they're like, well, these live ones look fun too.
Yeah, yeah.
And they start attacking the live ones as well. It takes 3 days, Johnny, for them to be discovered. And you might ask yourself, well, what happened to the radio calls for assistance? We're in the middle of war. There's bound to be more boats floating around and
Were they in the
bases
water in the ocean
in the
for
water for
3
3
days?
days. Yeah. Navy Command claimed that they did not, that they, in their official report, they acknowledged that radio, requests for aid were probably sent out, but that they claim nobody heard them. The since released confidential reports said that that's not true. In fact, 3 stations did hear the calls for help.
Uh-oh.
The first one, the commander was drunk and didn't respond because he was drunk on duty and just said, fuck it,
Really?
somebody else will get it.
Yeah.
The second station, the commander ordered that he was not to be disturbed. So the radio operator's like, fucking boat sunk. We got to go get him. And he's like, hey, I'm sleeping.
Bunch of power-hungry assholes.
And the third officer just thought it was a hoax, like a Japanese trick to try to get them to go out and provide aid and get sunk themselves. So
It
he
sounds
didn't
to me like the third guy is the only one who came up with a viable story.
Yeah, right? The survivors would be spotted 3 days later by a PBY-2 plane. The U.S. plane is on routine patrol, finds a shit ton of bodies floating in the water.
Yeah, yikes.
So so for 3 days, these guys are on limited food because they only have whatever food is in the life raft ration packs, which is very, very limited.
Yeah.
And of course, they didn't get enough of the life rafts off, so they're already short.
Yeah.
They also have no fresh water because, well,
They're in the middle of the ocean.
you're in the middle of the ocean. And again, unless you happen to have your canteen on you or what is in the life rafts survival pack, which is like 2 cans of water,
Yeah.
good luck. So for 3 days, they've been without food, without water,
But at least they weren't in the blistering sun or anything.
in the blistering sun, exposed to all the elements, getting eaten by sharks, just bobbing like bobbers in the ocean. They finally get swamped by this plane. The pilot does the right thing and immediately radios back to the fleet. Hey, look, we've got a ship must have went down. We've got a bunch of people in the ocean.
Send
Come
help.
rescue. Against orders, this pilot lands, it's a seaplane, lands the plane on the water, which is against orders,
Right.
to try to save as many as he can. He gets 56 survivors up to him. In addition, that he also drops off their survival life raft and like their survival kit. He drops it into the ocean. He gets 56 guys onto the plane, which of course the plane's not big enough to hold 56 people.
I was gonna say what?
So he takes parachute cord and literally ties people to the wings and tries to take off.
There's
But
no.
he inadvertently made the plane inflyable.
Yeah, no
So he now
way.
is stuck in the water. But at least they're on a plane, like,
Yeah, they can. Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
fresh rations to split a little bit, I guess. And there's somebody there that is obviously going to bring more people.
I still find it funny that they try to fly with people strapped to
I
them.
mean, come on, like that. The pilot
had to
knew
know
that
that
couldn't
wasn't
have
gonna
worked.
work.
That had to have been somebody forcing him to try it, because the pilot had to have known. Like, because you have to calculate payloads and weights and everything else before you can fly anything.
Yeah. Yep. After nightfall, the U.S.S. Cecil J. Doyle is the first of 7 rescue ships to arrive. It uses its searchlight beacons to instill hope, basically. Like, look, there's a
We're
boat here.
coming. Yeah.
We're coming. We're helping. And they start pulling the survivors out of the water. When everything is said and done, of the 1,195 sailors on board, 316 are pulled out of the water alive.
Holy cow.
That's it. Of those 316, 2 more would die within several days of exposure and wounds.
Right.
These sailors were exposed to dehydration, exhaustion. Multiple sailors died due to salt poisoning because they were drinking the salt water.
Yeah, because they got desperate.
They got desperate. And a lot of them would suffer permanent, lifelong delusion issues. Like, they had psychotic breaks.
Sure, yeah.
You're out in the water getting eaten by sharks for 3 days. Yep.
You watch 700 of your crewmates die in front of you, like pretty horrific deaths.
And get eaten by sharks in front of you.
Yeah, and then you have to spend 3 days wondering why people haven't come to rescue you when you sent calls.
And there were actually recorded suicides that happened in the water as well.
Oh yeah,
Yep. I probably would have been one of them.
Would have been. That's what I was the whole time. I think like the will to survive just has to be such an incredibly strong thing ingrained in humanity for that, like to be able to survive that for 3 days.
The captain of the boat, I forgot his name, doesn't matter. He would be court-martialed on 2 charges. The first charge was failure to evacuate the ship, and the second was basically putting the ship in danger. The failure to evacuate the ship, that was instantly dropped like bullshit. No, all of his
12 minutes.
No.
Like,
He didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
He would get court-martialed on the endangering the ship, but later it would actually get overturned and his record would be reinstated. And
because he was supposed to be in safe water, like.
Yeah, like he was supposed to be in safe water. He did radio for assistance. Like he did everything remotely possible for him. Yeah. He was supposed to be zigzagging through the waters in case of sub activities, which he was told weren't there. And he was also commanded that the zigzagging was up to his discretion.
Okay.
And he was told that
sounds
they weren't
to me
there.
Like they suggested he might want to zigzag, and he decided I might not want to.
Because I want to get there in record time.
And so they you can't get mad at him for that. You said you don't have to.
Nope. There is a really good down on the canal in Indianapolis. If you ever visit Indianapolis, I do highly recommend walking the canal in Indianapolis because there is a really good monument to the U.S.S. Indianapolis that's there. Also, there is a movie that came out in 2016 that's called the U.S.S. Indianapolis Men of Courage, starring Nicolas Cage. Please, dear God, do not watch this. It's god awful. I made it through 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes have the worst CGI. Like, did you ever
see 2016?
2016.
And it had bad CGI?
Yes. Did you ever see the second mummy, the Scorpion King?
Yeah.
You remember how bad the Scorpion King looked in the mummy? Yeah, that CGI looks glorious in comparison to what was in this god-awful. Watch the trailer. Like, you know what? Do yourself a favor. Go watch the trailer if you're listening to this at home. Watch it. Because you'll understand how it's going to be an awful movie just by how the trailer is.
I mean, 2016 starring Nicolas Cage. It's gonna be a bad movie.
Yeah, it sure was. I was hopeful because it is a story that really truly does deserve.
No doubt it could be a very good movie. No doubt.
But not by Nicolas Cage.
But... And that's This Week in History.